Thank you, Kate, for that introduction. So as she said, my name is Max Winters. I'm a senior here at Ocean Township High School. Just a little background. I was born in Ocean Township. I grew up here my whole life. I grew up in Wayside. Both my parents went to school here. My brother graduated from here, and my sister is a freshman here at Ocean Township High School. When Mr. Polano first approached me about doing this OT talk, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to talk about. It was scary at first, go up there and talk for 20 minutes. But after talking to an old teammate who's now in college, we were just catching up, and he said, honestly, your high school career could be a movie. And I was like, that's something I could talk about. So what I'm going to be talking about today is my last 4 years here at Ocean Township High School, and more specifically how sports have impacted my life and my development, and things I've learned throughout my time here. So ever since I was little, sports have been very prevalent in my life. I was very lucky to be able to play many different sports. Growing up, I played baseball, basketball, soccer, football, wrestling, golf, bowling. And I think that was important. I was able, see different aspects of competing and, compete in different settings and atmospheres. And, as many of you know, baseball is definitely my favorite sport. It's what I'll be continuing to play in college. But I thought it was very important that I was able to play, all the different sports and kind of see which one I liked the best. So my freshman sports career started actually before I stepped foot in the high school, as our soccer practices started in the summer. And a year before I came into the high school, I had quit playing travel soccer to focus on baseball outside of school. So I was excited to get back on the field. I hadn't played soccer in a little while. So I'm a goalkeeper, and that freshman year, the varsity senior goalkeeper battled some injury. So I was lucky enough to get called up to varsity, and I was the backup. I was very fortunate. The freshman games took place after the varsity games. So I was able to sit on the bench during the varsity games and, learn a lot from that and the grit and, see the bigger, tougher kids, because I'm only a 14-year-old freshman. I'm not used to seeing these 18-year-old kids run around. Our freshman team, we lost 2 games that year, and the varsity team won a Central Jersey Group 3 sectional final that year. So the Ocean soccer program had a very successful year. But at the time, I was very lucky that a lot of teams I was on, winning was very commonplace. Our middle school team, we didn't lose a game in middle school. So I kind of didn't understand how impressive that was as a freshman. So as we go into sophomore year, I'm a sophomore goalkeeper, and there's a junior goalie, and he is the one who played last year. So coming into this season, I kind of knew I was going to be the backup. And a few games into the season, I was able to earn some more playing time. And after that, I was kind of our starter the rest of the year. The end of that season ended with 2 early losses in the short conference and state tournaments, and kind of cut our season shorter than what we would have liked. So something I took away from that season, one, is coming in knowing I was the backup. I was able to, I had a good attitude. I competed hard every day in practice and worked hard. So when my name was called and I had the opportunity to play, I think that's what helped me be so successful on the field. I was ready for the opportunity. I wasn't, upset about not starting originally. And also, I learned that just because we were Ocean Township, every time we stepped onto the field, we weren't going to win. So I knew that we had a lot of hard work ahead of us if we wanted to get to where we eventually wanted to be, which was a champion. So as we go into junior year, I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to be able to play soccer. As my college recruiting, outside of school for baseball started to ramp up, I knew that fall was going to be very busy and that I would have to miss some games. So Coach Chalesky had just took the job as a varsity coach, and I approached him and Coach Suarez before the season started and kind of, told them that. And I'm very lucky and fortunate that they were, lenient and flexible and understanding of my situation, and they let me play. And, I think that's pretty special because a lot of schools, I don't think coaches would be okay with that. And, if it wasn't for them, my soccer career might have ended 2 years ago. So I'm very grateful that, they gave me that opportunity. As we go into junior year, coming off not the best year, according to our standards, we go in the short conference tournament knowing that we're hosting the semifinal and final. We're able to make the short conference final, and we get absolutely embarrassed by Homedale. We lose 7-1. I gave up 5 goals. And, I think it was safe to say that for everybody on the field, it was very embarrassing. But, we knew we had the state tournament following, so we had to regroup. And we were able to make a run, and we made the Central Jersey Group 3 final and lost there as well. So looking back on that year, we might have had a successful year in the win-loss column. But again, we walked away with no championships, and that was tough to deal with. We knew we had one more season left together. We had to work hard in the off season, to get where we eventually wanted to get to. So coming into senior year, this group of kids that I've been playing together with since I was 6, 7, 8 years old, we talked a lot about our potential that year. The things we could do. Could we go undefeated? Could we win everything? And while we, had high expectations for the results that came at the end of the season, I think one of the reasons we were so successful is that we were able to take it one game at a time and just kind of focus on who's on the field that day. And we finished the regular season, played extremely well. A few blemishes, we had 3 losses, and we go into the short conference tournament once again with a pretty high seed. In the short conference semifinal, we get Homedale, the team that embarrassed us the year before. And, most of us seniors and everyone else on the team had been on the team last year and, remembered that game and wanted revenge. So going into that game, Homedale was undefeated, number 1 team in the state. So we knew we had a tough battle ahead of us. But we also had the confidence that, we knew we could win that game. So they take an early lead. We were able to tie it up and then take a lead. They tied up in the last 10 minutes to send us to overtime. We go through overtime, scoreless, so we go into penalty kicks. We ended up winning that game in penalty kicks, which, place was crowded. It was a lot of fun, and especially for me as a goalie, I like going to penalty kicks because I kind of feel like I have the game in my hands as much as possible, and I have more control of the outcome. While we were excited, we had just knocked off Homedale for the first team to do that all year. We knew we had another game ahead of us, and we didn't want to lose another championship. So next we had CBA, another very talented team, one of the top teams in the state. And, it was a tough game. We battled. We finished regulation 0-0. We didn't have any shots on goal, so they kind of had the ball on our end most of the game. We head into overtime. The first half of overtime, scoreless. Second half of overtime, we kind of know that if we're able to get through this, we can get to penalty kicks again until they make an announcement that if it got to that point, we would be co-champions. We don't go to penalty kicks. And I remember in our huddle, that's not what we came here to do. We didn't come here to be co-champions. We wanted to win. And even though we hadn't had a shot on net all game, we weren't playing terribly. So we had confidence that we could get it done. The ball's deep in their end. Luke Yates has a long throw. Brent Gaber with the flick on, and Leo Montesinos finishes it. And when the ball hit the back of the net, I get goosebumps talking about it right now. I can't describe the feeling. It was almost disbelief. Not disbelief in that I couldn't, believe that we had scored, but, that moment right there, we had won. And just running to the dog pile is, a feeling that I don't think I could ever recreate or describe. There's tons of people there. It was definitely one of the highlights of our season, getting through that tournament, beating 2 of the top teams in the state. I think it was our most impressive, feat of the season. We celebrated, and we knew we had another tournament ahead of us. We make a Central Jersey Group 3 championship, and we win that. And it wasn't that special. We didn't even celebrate after the game. We didn't dogpile or anything because, we kind of knew that was, another stop on the way. We wanted more. So we make an overall Group 3 championship to play Milburn at Keene University. We battled that game. It was tough, and we won 1-0. Become the only team in the state to win every championship that we could. My last soccer game of my career, playing with kids that I've played with my entire life, a feeling that I don't think I'll ever be able to recreate or describe. Like I said about the short conference championship, it was just special. Kids had tears running down their face. It was a very special moment and something I was extremely grateful to be a part of. So another part of our success that season that I think goes a little unmentioned is the support that we had from our school. Mr. Todd had fan buses to take kids to games that were far away. We had kids at every single game supporting us, faculty, the town. We had the town behind us, and I don't think everyone understands like what that did for our success. Knowing that every time we stepped on the field, we had people behind us that were pushing for the same thing we were, 100% helped our, helped our play, and we're extremely thankful for everyone for supporting that. And I just wanted to mention that because I think that goes a little unmentioned sometimes. So then we head on to baseball. Coming into freshman year, I'd usually been one of the better teams on my teams growing up, better players on my teams, and I was coming into a school where kids are 2-3 years older than me, bigger, stronger. I wasn't sure what to expect, and from day one, I was called up to varsity, and about halfway through the season, I became a starter. And after playing a few games, Coach Apostolacus gave an upperclassman a chance to get his job back. So I didn't play in one of our big games, a night game at RBC, and we lost. And after, in the locker room, I was extremely upset. One, because I felt like I had earned the job, but I understood. But two, also because I couldn't help our team win. And in the bathroom after, one of the assistant coaches walked in, and let's just say I let him know how I felt. And after that, going home and going to sleep that night, I thought there was no chance I was ever going to play again. I saw Coach Tip in the hallway next day. Couldn't even look at him. I thought he hated me. But I was wrong. He loved, the competitiveness that I had in me and the passion that I had for the game. And, that's something I learned freshman year, is that competitiveness, the passion, the emotion that I play with is something that I should, keep with me. It brings out the best in my game, and other people respect that. We ended up finishing that freshman year losing in a Central Jersey Group 3 state sectional final. And there were a lot of seniors on that team. So going into sophomore year, we knew we kind of had to regroup, and it was going to be a young crowd. So we started the season decent sophomore year, and after a mishap on our spring break trip sophomore year, we had a few players suspended that kind of affected our success that season. And the silver lining in that was we had a lot of younger players who came to play, and they got experience and time that in games that not necessarily didn't matter. So I think that experience helped them in the future and is why we're having a successful season this year. Also, I was named captain sophomore year. So as we head into junior year, I was a returning captain. Most of our players were returning from the previous year, those younger guys that got playing time once, some of the players couldn't play. And junior season was tough. We finished 13-13, 500 record. And for me personally, prior to that season, I had committed to playing college. So kind of every game we went to, I was targeted, not mentally or not physically in any way, but I was, pitched differently. Kids wanted to try and get in my head, and I didn't deal with that as well as I could have. It definitely affected, I think, the team's success and my own success. And that's kind of one thing that I learned the summer and fall after that, playing outside of school, reflecting on my junior season, is that how big of an impact the mental game is, especially on baseball. It's a huge part of the game. And, I was able to kind of correct that and, lock in and kind of block out the rest of the noise. And that helped me play well in the summer and fall. So I was excited to bring that, to senior year where we are now. Again, we had a lot of players return, and we are currently 19-5. We are in a short conference championship and a state tournament, short conference tournament and state tournament, starting next week. We're looking to capture a couple championships, but we made a Monmouth County championship and we lost to CBI 8-1, and that game taught me a lot. We didn't play well. I think it's safe to say that was our worst game probably all season, personally and as a team. And it was embarrassing. There's a lot of people there. And after the game, I heard from parents, coaches, that my body language was bad and my attitude wasn't good, that as a leader, while I maybe was saying the right things, I wasn't showing it. And that stinks to hear. But I'm extremely grateful that I have people there to call me out on that and, learn from that. because it definitely won't happen again. And, without the people to call me out, who knows what could happen. But I have those people in my life, and, I'll learn from my mistakes. And I think that's one of the biggest, themes of baseball. And part of the reason I love it so much is failure is so prevalent in the game. A player, when they're hitting, could fail 7 out of 10 times and be one of the best players on the field. And that's crazy. And you have to learn how to deal with failure. And when bad things happen, and even when good things happen, you have to flush it and focus on the next day, or else you'll have no chance in this game. I've heard people whose careers ended from, they couldn't handle the frustration that came with the game, and like I said, their careers ended. It affects, I was talking with Mr. O'Neill before this, it's mentally, you can do everything right and still fail, and dealing with that is extremely frustrating. But it's one thing that I've learned on the field over the years, and that I can apply to life off the field. So, as you can see, my athletic journey here has been one with a lot of memories. But my academic schedule while I was here at Ocean Township High School was pretty rigorous. Not necessarily by choice, thanks to my mom. I had an AP class every year, most years more than one. And I think that taught me a lot as well about time management, something that's very important in life. And as I move on next year to college and for the rest of my life, being able to set my priorities straight and manage my time well. I've learned a lot in the last 4 years, and not all through success. There's been plenty of times where I've had to stay up all night to study, work on projects, etc. And, being able to learn from those moments and, know that you don't want that to happen again is very important to, your success in the future. And I'm grateful for that opportunity, being able to, manage my time well and learn that'll help me in the future. I've also, I hear parents say, oh, they want to send their kids to CBA or RBC, but I honestly don't understand why. My last 4 years at Ocean Township High School has 100% prepared me extremely well for college and the future. I've made fantastic relationships with teachers that I think will last, past high school. And the people here, they're awesome. They care about you and your success in the future, and you kind of get what you put in. If you want to be successful and work hard, teachers are going to be there for you, faculty, and they're going to help you with your success. So just kind of wrapping it up, I'm extremely grateful for my last 4 years, everything that I've encompassed, on the field, off the field, and I think Ocean Township High School has prepared me extremely well, and I'm extremely fortunate and grateful for my last 4 years here, and thank you for listening.